Welcome to Talk News TV on GNN Global News Network. I'm Gerry Cornejo, and this is somewhat of a sequel from our TV program last week where we had the San Francisco Police Department officers and we talked about P.E.T, the Philippine Exchange Training. Well, here with us now to conclude that story is the head of the group. The founder and the head is with us now. His name is Lieutenant Quema, SFPD. Good evening, Lieutenant Quema.
Good evening, Gerry. How you doing?
So, welcome to Talk News TV. And how long have you been here now? 3 weeks, is it? Almost?
Just almost 2 weeks, Gerry.
Almost 2 weeks.
Almost 2 weeks.
And it's been a very busy. It's been a very busy 2 weeks because you've been going around Metro Manila. You've been seeing the police officers. You've been seeing the Defense College, the Police Academy. Could you tell us about the people you've seen here and the things you've done under your program? By the way, P.E.T is Philippine Exchange Training. Before you tell us what you've done, can you brief us again about what P.E.T is all about? A brief history of P.E.T.
Well, P.E.T is a volunteer program that 4 or 5 police officers first started in the year 2000. Our idea is to bring training and information to our brother and sister officers here in the PNP. In that way, we can also learn from them, and what will happen is we both gain experience that we can better serve our respective communities.
By the way, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if I mentioned, let me mention it again. If you have just tuned in, Lieutenant Quema is with SFPD, the San Francisco Police Department, USA, California. And there are, I think, 160 plus Filipino police officers out of a total police force of 2,000 something, am I right?
That's correct, Gerry.
Okay, I remember that from the last interview. So Lieutenant Quema, however, is the highest ranking Filipino-American officer in the police force. So again, P.E.T started way back when?
In 1999,
okay.
2 Filipino officers thought, why can't we start a program where we can go to the Philippines and exchange information and training, and that way we save them thousands of dollars coming over here. Our department was sending people to Russia, to China, to Amsterdam to do little studies, but never any training, exchange training. We wanted to take it a step further because of the large Filipino population in the Bay Area.
Right, right.
So it worked out fine. It became bigger than life. Year after year is a struggle to try to maintain it because it's totally 100% volunteer time and money.
Yes, and by the way, though they are an official SFPD delegation, these gentlemen, these officers, there are 10 of them who came over this time, spend their own money and their resources to come here. As a matter of fact, it's all volunteer work, which means not a cent was spent by the SFPD really, or even the government of the USA or the state of California. Out of pocket po ito, their own. And even the equipment which they've donated, among the things they've brought over were life-saving bulletproof vests, which are all donated by your brother officers and the SFPD. Or
yes.
Could you tell us about these donations that you made to our PNP?
Over the course of 1 year, before the trip happens, each of us is tasked with collecting any usable or even buying items of use, leather gear, equipment for the police to use to better carry out their duties and also to protect themselves. It's given with the express knowledge that it is for them to inspect. We don't give any guarantees of any kind but it is usable equipment and it saves them a lot of money. Bulletproof vests is better than just skin and bones is what they have to work with here.
Of course,
so,
right.
In fact, as an example, one officer we gave a vest to last year sought us out this year just to tell us that that vest saved his life in a shootout.
Great, wonderful.
Yes.
So is a bulletproof vest standard equipment for SFPD or all of the police forces in the USA?
I can speak just for SFPD. It is standard issue equipment, and it's the highest standard that we can get. And it's not really called bulletproof. We call it body armor or bullet resistant because certain calibers of weapons can penetrate that.
Okay.
But it affords us a level of protection that the PNP do not have.
Yeah, it's a matter of life and death.
Exactly.
Okay,
Exactly.
so the PET project, the Philippine Exchange Training, it started in 1999. Where has it gone from 1999 to today? Like, for instance, the delegation of 2009, which included last week, if you were watching, we had with us Lieutenant Luis Espinda.
Right.
We had Sergeant Dominic Yan and Police Officer Joseph Villamor.
That's correct.
And now you have the head of the delegation. Before we end, I'd like you to mention the 6 other officers who are not with us now, so somehow our program will be some sort of a documentary on what you did this year. So let us make this program exactly that. What was I'm sure with all of the events that you went into, you will not be able to recall all the details, but what were the bigger events or the bigger groups that you addressed this year, since you've been here almost 2 weeks? When you landed, who was the first group you met with?
Caloocan Police Station was the first group we met with. It was a little under 100 people. Right after that, we went to Valenzuela.
Okay.
And we did little training and presentations, and we also asked the PNP to demonstrate their techniques as well, because we pick up and learn things from them as well, and together we interact in that manner.
Okay, so there was, and then there were other, like you went to the Philippine National Police Academy. What were these other places again?
For the first time this year in the entire program, we decided to do a little more community policing. We reached out to Bantay Bayan,
okay,
which is the barangay groups. I think there's 33 in just Makati alone. And this was set up by retired General Joby Gutierrez. He thought that'd be a good idea. I thought it'd be a win-win situation. It fits right into community policing. And it turned out to be a very productive event, because so many people attended. A lot of information was exchanged, because your barangay here is much more advanced than our neighborhood community policing that we're trying to institute in San Francisco. Your barangay here, the Bantay Bayan, get really involved in policing matters that free up the regular PNP officers to do the more serious crimes.
Right.
The barking dog, the noisy neighbor, the dispute between neighbors.
They're the front lines.
Yes, and that saves a lot of time and
a lot
effort.
of time, even the traffic now. I mean,
exactly.
You know, being handled right, barking dogs, quarreling neighbors. The first line of defense, you know, you call the barangay. The barangay. Then, actually, if it doesn't get into a very serious shooting war, the barangay usually gets to handle it. Even in the courts. I mean, you don't. If there's a dispute within the barangay, you don't go straight to the trial court. It's first settled within the barangay. So the barangay, you're right, is a very powerful tool here.
It is.
And I went to your website, and I think you're organizing something like that in San Francisco with your police department, something like a neighborhood
policing. Kind of like a barangay, but we're not even close. And when we come here, people seem to think that we know it all, or we have the better procedures and all that. And barangay is a issue that I always bring up, saying this is how much you are advanced. And I bring out the barangay and how they take care of business and frees up the police to do other things. We don't have that yet. We're not even close to that level. So my hat's off to the Filipinos in this country here for what they're doing. It's really amazing.
By the way, Lieutenant Quema, what other places did you visit? I mean, like the other day you were telling me, it's the National Defense College, and
yes,
you made a presentation there, the Philippine National Police Academy, the Special Action Force. What happened in these venues?
Well, at the Special Action Force, our main goal there was to interact with the Special Action Force, which we don't have there back home in the States. They did some demonstrations for us, gave us a little presentation on what their role is in the Philippine National Police. They're somewhat between like a Delta Force and a SWAT. They're right in the middle there, because they're highly specialized and they're truly amazing. They have all the right weaponry, the right equipment to use, and they're prepared to take on any kind of event that happens. So that was basically a learning event for us.